Hi, beloved. This is July 14th, 2024, and this is an unplanned session. So, Spirit really wanted me to come up and do a recording on the um, Trump assassination attempt. I'm calling it that. They're not calling it that. We'll find out more about why they're not calling it that because I'm curious. Um, So let's just get into it. So when we were busy yesterday doing stuff on the house we're renovating, and it wasn't until like 6:30 last night that we turned on any kind of news or social or anything like that. And that's when we saw what had occurred. My my as a human intuitive, right? Just a regular everyday person without asking the guides. My initial thought, my initial gut instinct was that it was a setup. And I'm going to tell you what I thought, and then we're going to ask Spirit what their opinion of it is. My first thought was that was a setup. They set up that the shooter to do this. It was intended not to kill, or it was intended. There is a potential. I'm hearing there is a potential that it was intended to kill, but it was purposefully set up, not by the government, not by the Secret Service or anything like that, by a wing of the Republican Party for one of two things to happen. Either for him to leave the planet, and you know what I mean when I say that, so that they could make him a martyr, or if they missed, like they did, for it to become a rally cry for the Republican people that still were on the fence about whether to vote for 45 Trump. Okay. So I'm just going to be quiet now and let's just see what Spirit says, because I thought about this all night last night and I was thinking, yeah, but they wouldn't have set him up and then had this kid go up, and maybe it works and maybe it doesn't, and they're just like, we'll do a we'll do a reading tomorrow. Let's just get to Spirit. Okay. All right, so what they're showing me is it's like a group of people that are wearing dark clothes, and that for me is the image of the lower vibrational souls who want to kill, steal, or destroy, right? And they're sneaking around and they're kind of going under, you know, going under things and going around and being sneaky. That's the word. They're being sneaky about the whole thing. And the intention here is to create more chaos. So someone somewhere um, manipulated the shooter kid, told him he was going to be fine, that they would take care of him and protect him because he wouldn't have done this on his own, especially if he thought that he could end up dead. So there is some manipulation there for him to get him into doing this particular thing. Now I'm asking Spirit questions as we're going along. So my question to Spirit is, when he got up there and he was aiming, was he really nervous and he missed because he was nervous? And what I'm hearing is he's untrained. Okay. So yes, there was an aspect of him being nervous, but he also was not trained enough for him to be able to take into consideration the wind and all the other elements that were involved to overcompensate for his nervousness. So, um, and he didn't take into consideration that uh, that Trump would be moving his head around, right? That he would be moving, um, because that also changes the target that he was aiming at. So it's more of an uneducation. He wasn't skilled. He wasn't trained to be able to accommodate all those extra elements and his nervousness. So there's that. All right. So now I'm asking, who coerced him? All right. So he belonged to a couple of different organizations. And there is an element to it with the organization of the gun one, the t-shirt people that he was wearing. There's an element to that gave him the desire to be willing to participate in this situation because he was already familiar with guns. He didn't want any regulations on guns, blah, 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 right? And so being part of the gun group, that was a doorway, that was an entryway for someone to get to him because he was already open to the, I'm going to call it militia lifestyle, meaning what I call the militia lifestyle is being willing to violently overthrow the government. Okay. And um, that's just my definition right now. Okay. So I want to know who manipulated him. So he was open and available because he already had these really strong beliefs. And so what happened? What happened? So there was something that happened in his formative years, like, and when I say formative, I'm not talking about young childhood, though it could be, um, in addition to the young childhood, this time frame, because originally he leaned more democratic, um, and then at something happened and he shifted into more radical Republican, um, kill or be killed is what I'm hearing, into that more dominant kill or be killed mentality. And so I don't know what happened, but that's been over the last couple of years where that's been radicalized in him. Um, and so now I'm asking, well, why would that be? Why would that have anything to do with Trump? Because on the surface, the things that Trump has said, he's been for no gun restrictions. He's been for, really supporting gun rights and the Second Amendment. So why would he want to attack Trump? All right. So what I'm hearing is he didn't actually want to attack Trump. It wasn't about him attacking Trump. It was about him helping start the revolution. Interesting. It was about him helping to start a revolution. Because if Trump could be martyred or he could be injured or be threatened, right, in this situation, then there were enough mouthpieces in place and the political environment, in the news environment, in the commentary environment, to immediately go to the political divide and start blaming the Republicans, blaming the Democrats, blaming Joe Biden, blaming the others, right? Um, but if you know the Democrats, they are against rifles, automatic rifles, and things like that. So that would never be something they would want to proliferate anyway. So that's incongruent. But so where were we? So there were the mouthpieces that would immediately go to blaming the Democrats for this attack on Trump, saying, oh, more hypocrisy. Okay. Saying that the Democrats were the ones who were always speaking violent rhetoric, which is not true, of course, of the two parties. And I'm a registered independent, but of the two parties, the Republicans are 2,000% more likely to speak dangerous rhetoric, violent rhetoric. Okay. We just know that. That's the facts. So the plan was they talked this kid into participating, right, being the shooter. And then the mouthpieces, they knew the mouthpieces were immediately going to jump in and blame the Democrats. And then the intention was to start a revolution, to genuinely start and amplify the militia lifestyle, so that all the people that want to overthrow the government, and again, my definition of militia lifestyle is overthrowing the government, overthrowing democracy, which is the government, the democratic government, democratic run government, so that they could usurp power, start a war, and take over America and start running it literally like Russia, which is interesting. So now my question is, what does Russia have to do with this? Does Russia have anything to do with this? It might have been Russia's idea for this to happen. It very clearly could have been a suggestion, because the coup attempt that happened before that failed, that very, very much was encouraged by Russia. Spirit says, I don't say, allegedly. And this feels very much like it was suggested by Russia, because the coup didn't happen. It didn't work out. You didn't have enough people. So now you've got to generate the people by doing something really outrageous and getting either a martyr to fight for, or getting sympathy to fight for, or enraging your people to fight for, right? Now, here's the other thing. I do not believe that Trump was aware that he was going to be shot at. I think he would have poo-pooed that. I think he was aware that there was a plan in place to rile up the people, but I do not think he would have stood there and allowed himself to be shot at. His ego is too big. Not a 20-year-old kid, right? I think he knew that there was something up, but I didn't think he knew that that was it. I keep seeing Don Jr. Don Jr. may have known, because for Don Jr., it works out either way, whether his dad is alive or not, because He either gets a martyr and he gets to now stand up in his father's place and run for president and continue the agenda, or he gets to mouth off about everything that is terrible with democracy and that Joe Biden tried to kill his dad and so forth and so on. So it works out either way for him. And again, this is what Spirit's saying. So it's all allegedly. I have no evidence to back this up. This is just what I'm hearing right now. And, comma, we're gonna, different paragraph here. We're gonna talk about also one of the reasons, if you understand karma and you understand how energy works, right? Choice and consequence. You make a choice, you get a consequence that resonates with that choice, right? So all of the violent rhetoric that has been put out into the world by the Republican Party, by Trump himself, and so forth, this is not going to be the only violent attack on him because of his karmic consequences. He has put out, like when Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked, he mocked it. Don Jr. mocked it. All the Republican parties mocked it. He's posted violent posts on X, before that Twitter. He said terrible, violent things about how people should be hurt or harmed. He posted the thing holding a baseball bat to somebody's head in a picture. Of course, it was a graphic, a Photoshop thing. So violence begets violence. And what you sow is what you reap. And so Trump had it in his energy field to be attacked like this, to have a violent expression aimed at him, because he's put it out there a lot. And he's put so much out there that this is not going to be the only one. Okay? It's not going to be the only one. It's not going to be the only one. All right? So I said that 3 times. That's confirmation for me, but it also tells me there might be 3 total attempts. We may or may not hear or experience the other 2 attempts, but this is what's in the energy field right now, is 100% there could be at least 3 attempts, this one included, so 2 more. And one of them, unfortunately, might be successful. So hopefully the security teams have figured out what they did wrong in not securing the location and the venue, and get that figured out and get it right, so that, you know, there's no success here, because 100% there is zero need for violence. There is no violence that is warranted. There's no violence that's needed. All of that is a choice, and what you sow is what you reap. Now, that's the karmic consequences. That's universal law. Okay, humans can't change universal law. You just participate in it. And I want to unequivocally say that me and Spirit all agree that violence is a terrible, terrible thing and should never happen to anyone for any reason. Okay, so we're denouncing violence on all terms. I want to be really super clear, but energetically, this is what I'm seeing right now. There is a potential between now and November of there being at least 2 more attempts and one of them succeeding, meaning Trump may leave the planet either because of the thing or as a result of one of the things. And what that means is the thing happens, the violence happens, and then maybe he has a heart attack later. That would be the result of the thing, right? The thing didn't hurt him, but he was so stressed out, he had a heart attack. Okay, that's what that means. So it could be either the thing or the result of the thing. And I'm having to use kind of vague words, just so, this doesn't get turned off um, on platforms. So what else? Is there anything to do to stop the violence? Okay, so right now, the violence is not ramped up in the Republican Party. Now, the Republican National Convention is starting tomorrow, I think. This is Sunday. I think tomorrow's Monday. I think it starts tomorrow. Depending on how they handle the Republican National Convention will determine whether or not this goes to a war. And pay attention to the people who are wanting the war, who are out there spiraling up the people to go to war, because those are the people that are participating in this warmongering. Okay, they want this militia overtake thing. So they are in some way, shape, or form involved in what happened now and what will happen in the future. So just make note of those people, because they are part of the chaos party, and they will do whatever it takes to make the result happen. And the result that they want is the destruction of democracy. They want power over everyone except for themselves. They want females disempowered. They want anyone in the non-straight community, no matter what that is, without power. They want everybody but themselves to be powerless and in cages and in being very harshly treated, because they are fourth dimensional souls that are here on the planet to create chaos. And they are part of the negative force, the negative beings, and they are here to kill, steal, and destroy. And that's what they will do. Okay. And there's levels to the fourth dimensional soul. Some of them are working their way up to fifth dimension. So some of the folks that are in the Republican Party right now that have been, Trumpers, they're going to see what's happening behind the scenes with this whipping up the frenzy and creating a literal war, and this militia overtake. And they're going to suddenly wake up and they're going to distance themselves. So if you start seeing some of those people kind of separating themselves, people that you thought you'd never see separate, you're going to start seeing those, including Trump, because there's going to come a time when his eyes are going to be open so that he sees what he has created. And unfortunately, it's going to be too late. It's going to be too late for him, and it's going to be too late for what he was hoping to create. Okay, because everything that is designed to kill, steal, and destroy will also kill, steal, and destroy itself, because that's how it works, right? They can't work any other way, and the energy can't work any other way, because it is to kill, steal, and destroy. And so just keep all that in mind. So let me see if I have any other questions. Is there a threat against Biden or Kamala Harris? Honestly, there's more of a threat to Kamala Harris right now. The threats to Biden is real, and he needs to be protected. But as we've said, he's not going to stay on the planet or in that job too much longer. If he does get reelected in November, it is his desire to get reelected and get Kamala Harris in place. And then he can either retire or leave the planet and give it to her. Okay, or put her in as the acting president. That's the plan. So there are people in this kill, steal, and destroy group who will want to take her out so that someone else has to be put in, because they already know that if Biden is elected and something happens to him, then there's going to be a Black woman who will be the president of the United States. And they can't, and this is what I'm hearing, they can't fucking stand it. They cannot stand it. It's not feasible for them to be able to live in a place where a Black woman is president. It's just not. And that is going to get them riled up more than anything. They hate Biden, but they hate the idea of that much, much worse. So hopefully all the security forces are really being ramped up. It would be a good idea for them not to have, and nobody, I mean, on either side, to have any public out on the Trump, out on the, I don't know the word, out on the campaign trail. It would be good for no one, no side, to be out on the campaign trail right now, even Kennedy, because remember, kill, steal, and destroy is universal. It doesn't only work for one side. It will not only attack one side, it will create havoc everywhere. And Kennedy does have the family history of assassination. So everybody needs to be super careful. Everybody needs to kind of stay home and do news conferences. They can zoom into places, right? We got the technology. It's not as cool. However, it's going to be the smartest thing to do. Do I think everybody's going to do it? No. Do I think everybody's going to, stay home and Zoom? No. So there are an opportunity for things to go sideways over the next 4 months or so. So just be prepared for that. I don't see Biden in this moment. I do not see Biden being destroyed physically. I don't see him leaving the planet before the election right now. That is not, that's not what I'm seeing right now. Could that change? Yes. But that's not what I'm seeing right now. Can Trump leave the planet right now? 100%. Wow. I didn't know it was that high. So there's 100% possibility. Possibility doesn't mean it's true, but it is a possibility, 100% possibility that Trump could leave the planet between now and the election in November 2024. It could be from a thing or as the result of a thing, which I talked about earlier. All right. I kind of want to ask who he's going to pick for vice president, but that's going to be a different thing. Because that's not really, I'm not a political person. I'm more about the energy and about fostering the evolution on the planet, not the de-evolution or devolution of the planet. So who the person he picks is not that important to me right now, because it's going to be a person who is aligned to the fourth dimensional negative being, kill, steal, and destroy operandi, right? That's just who it's going to be, and it could be any number of people. And that's the big thing that everybody needs to remember about this election. It's not about Trump and Biden. It's about the platforms and the agendas. Okay. If they take one of the leaders out, either Biden or Trump, it's not going to change the platform. Okay. So it's an entire platform that has to be changed and adapted if you want to, if your side wants to win. And the Democrats want to do that with logic and common sense. And the Republicans want to do that with overpowering people, taking power away from people, violence, bullying, all that kind of stuff, right? So you need to choose which side you're on. And again, the Kennedy person, he is part of the chaos quadrant. He is part of the chaos coalition. So he's not for violence, but he is for chaos. So he also is a non-starter if you're wanting to maintain democracy and you're wanting higher vibrational logic and common sense, caring for your fellow man and so forth. So just know that. All right. What about Kamala Harris? She is at risk. So you need to, there needs to be a lot of safety measures around her. And to be honest, here's the ideal. Here's Spirit's ideal for the upcoming election. Biden wins sometime after January when he gets sworn in, right? Somewhere between after his swearing in and April next year. He peters out, whether he gets sick or, he can't do it or he leaves the planet. And then Kamala takes over and Kamala appoints Pete Buttigieg as her vice president. That is the ideal. Now remember, everyone has free will. So will Kamala choose Pete Buttigieg as her vice president? I have no idea. Don't even know if that's on her agenda, but that is Spirit's ideal in order to bring in more of the energy that needs to be brought into the planet so that the shift towards 5D can occur. Because there's a lot of light there. But we'll see what happens. We're not even close to that yet. So I hope this has been helpful. Let me know in the comments what you think. The reason my eyes close is because I want to hear clearly what Spirit has to say. I'm a visual person, so they show me pictures of things. And so I forgot to add that fist pump thing that he did once he got up. That was 100% him. That was him, because by the time they got him up off the floor, right where they had piled onto him, rightfully so. By the time they got him up, they already knew that the threat had been neutralized. And so when he got up, that rush of endorphins of, we're gonna, I beat this, and we need to fight. 100% him. So that, to me, that part of it didn't mean it was staged. That part of it was his authentic response, because he felt very much exactly what it was. Somebody took a shot at him and he survived, and now we need to fight, and move on and win this thing, right? That's what he thought. And when I say win this thing, it's not just the election, it's the overthrow of everything, right? So I just wanted to throw that in. Yeah, leave your comments. Let me know what your thoughts are, and I will see you next time.